Welcome to the show. You're watching the Fox Business Network. We begin with retired U.S. Army four-star general, foreign policy expert, Fox News contributor, General Jack Keane. Sir, it's great to have you on. Your reaction to the summit: did Russia's Putin walk away from Geneva with no repercussions? He walks away with Nord Stream 2 pipeline. What do you think of that? Is that true? What do you say?
Well, first of all, I think both of them walked away feeling probably pretty good about it. You know, they look for things that can define success for them. It's pretty standard at these, regardless of who's participating. But certainly, any analysis of this would tell you that President Biden went into this with a strategic objective to try to take the all-time low relationship that we have with Russia and try to diffuse that and reduce the tension. So prior to this summit, he did three things that made major concessions to Russia. One you mentioned was the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and that certainly has given Russia a windfall in terms of financial upside, and has given him economic and potentially military leverage over Eastern Europe in particular, and it squeezes Ukraine quite a bit. The second thing is not well known that when he went back into the START 2 treaty, and this took place in January of his administration, or at best the first week in February, and what he did is that we were negotiating with the Russians to include some advanced weapons that were not covered by the START 2 treaty, and Russia has most of those. And it made sense to get them underneath that umbrella. And we were trying to get China to participate because they have a growing, expanding nuclear arsenal. Those negotiations were on the table with the Russians. He walked away from all of that and just extended the treaty. The third thing is we had significant ransomware attacks in the United States on a scale we have not seen during the Trump administration. And what he should have done is use the tools that are available to him in Cyber Command. They have new authorities that the Trump administration has granted them. They use those authorities to shut down Russia's interference in the 2018 election and to shut it down again in the 2020 election. Both of those attacks that we made on their cyber infrastructure that was launching those attacks were disclosed publicly to the American people. One by the President of the United States, the other one by the Director of Cyber Command. So those are the concessions we made going in, and what did we do? We just came up with a laundry list of things to discuss with no policy commitment for anything that's going to take place. I think we walk out of there with a relatively empty hand.
Right. What, what if Russia crosses President Biden's new line in the sand of no more cyber attacks on the 16 infrastructure entities? It kind of feels like Obama's red line in the sand in Syria. And you got to bet that North Korea and Iran got that list, right? But the New York Times is reporting that the U.S. is already inside Russia's power grid. We have been in there since 2012. So, and President Biden did say if Russia does this again, he did bring up a ransomware attack on Russia's own oil fields. Would we go that far? That seems like an act of war.
Well, I thought after the ransomware attack that we go down after the cyber infrastructure that launched the attack, but we should have hit them with sanctions in the oil and gas industry and expose his personal wealth and hit that as well. The sanctions haven't worked with the Russians. Putin blows them off. You got to hit him where he is. I mean, this is a declining power whose economy is in the tank. It's a one commodity economy, oil and gas. And the other thing that I don't like about this, we gave Putin a world platform and a stage there, and he knows how to play it. He stood there for 55 minutes. As best I can count, he took something in the neighborhood of 26, 27 questions. He dealt with the American press and the international Russian press. Our president stood up there for something like 22 minutes, took 10 minutes worth of questions, 6 or 7 questions, all of them from the American press. No Russian press probing them whatsoever. Those optics were pretty horrible as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. People who agree with you. President Trump would likely agree with you. Let's listen to what President Trump said, former President Trump said last night. Watch this.
Well, I guess the overall is we didn't get anything. We gave a very big stage to Russia. and we got nothing. We gave up something that was unbelievably valuable. I stopped the pipeline, Nord Stream, and that pipeline was stopped, and it was given back, and nothing was gotten for it. I think it was a good day for Russia. I don't see what we got out of it.
What do you say, General? Final word.
Well, so think about how different it would have been if we had conducted the counterattack that we're capable of after those ransomware attacks. We go into the meeting and we tell them, Vladimir, it's going to get worse if you continue to attack us. What we just did to you, we can do over and over and over and over again. And every time we do it, we're going to put it in the public domain. We would have got a different reaction from Vladimir Putin.
That's a great point. That's a great point. General Jack Keane, thanks for your insights. Come back soon.